Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. My name is Steven, and this is the Storytime channel. Today we have some pro-revenge stories, and our first story of the day is by starting to SAV. You make me do all the science fair project? I'll throw you under the metaphorical bus. Cast: Pathological Liar, Sheep Boy, Amazing Teacher, me as starting to SAV. So this story happened when I was in the 7th grade. During that time, the school district had all students participate in a mandatory annual science fair, from elementary school up to the end of middle school. The idea was to get students interested in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math fields and occupations. After participating in science fairs for 6 years, I was used to the usual rigmarole that a science fair project entailed. I come up with some hopefully unique project ideas, most likely the very original electricity from a potato project. I make a hypothesis, collect data, pay the school or Home Depot 10 to 20 bucks for a science fair board, tape up charts and diagrams to the board the night before presenting, and then rinse and repeat for the next year. However, this year, my class was doing things a little differently. My class had the honor of being the first to be selected to participate in a virtual science fair. So basically, we were voluntold. No one in our section of the district at that time did a virtual science fair before, so we were signed up as guinea pigs to test it out. If that wasn't good enough, my class also had to promote healthy collaboration amongst students, so we were assigned to do projects in a group. Now I hate group work. I always got the short end of the stick in a group. Either my group gets stuck with someone that skimps out on work and the other group members and I have to cover their portion, or everyone in the group except me avoids work like the plague, and no matter how much I urge them to participate, I eventually have to do all the work myself to maintain my precious grades. I was a straight A student at the time, so any group work assigned to me was a threat to my grade and my sanity. If I ever got less than an A on any assignment, my mother would ask me, "Why didn't you get an A? Sonny boy, do you need help at school?" It drove me insane since I wasn't failing. Anyways, the online science fair was pretty simple. As a group, we were assigned access to a group science fair board that we could fill with our results, figures, hypothesis, etc. We were to have certain parts of the project, like the discussion, done by particular dates to get points towards our grade. The overall project was due in 2 months, and then we were to give a presentation. Amazing Teacher was brilliant. She wanted us to record our project progress in a composition book in tandem with the online portion, which she would review during our presentation in 2 months. I believe this was to help us keep track of notes in case we forgot to log them into the computer later, but it was used by me as a tool in my revenge. I was paired with Pathological Liar and Sheep Boy, who I was kind of friends with. We brainstormed and settled on testing the performance of an individual in exercise before and after they drink an energy drink. This was in part influenced by Monster Energy Drink just becoming popular and Sheep Boy's parents getting a new home gym. I thought it was great since I was playing football at the time and wanted to work out more. Also, Pathological Liar, Sheep Boy, and I literally shared every class together and lived within a mile of each other, so it would be super easy to communicate. However, Sheep Boy and Pathological Liar never seemed to want to talk about the project. After 2 weeks of radio silence from Pathological Liar and Sheep Boy, I finally corralled them in one place and suggested we meet up at Sheep Boy's house that weekend to start the project. On the day of the meetup, Sheep Boy's mom had to go grocery shopping or something, so Sheep Boy was out. Undaunted, I told Pathological Liar it'd be fine if we work at my house and researched other studies on it to get the ball rolling. But Pathological Liar never showed up that day, so I decided to confront him on our walk home from school the next day. Oh my god, if you heard what came out of this boy's mouth as an excuse. While we were literally within spitting distance of my house, Pathological Liar said he couldn't come over yesterday or today because his grandparents had gotten into a plane crash. I was flabbergasted and exclaimed, "What? Really?" But I didn't see anything on the news about a plane crash. Pathological Liar responded indignantly, "Plane crashes happen all the time, OP. They're not all going to get reported on. Their plane struck another plane on the tarmac and then rolled over and snapped off both wings." Me, insert surprised Pikachu face. "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Did they die?" "What? No, why would they die, idiot? Anyways, I can't do the project this week. See ya." This little turd then ran home. After I got home and deduced that he just fed me a sack of crap, I just said whatever and filed out the preliminary sections of the project and wrote notes in the composition book to at least ensure we had something to turn in next week. I was willing to give the group a second chance because maybe their busy middle school lives were swamped. After another 2 weeks of attempting to coordinate my group and getting them to at least contribute a page or two to the report, we finally decided to meet up at Sheep Boy's house again to start collecting the data. We actually all showed up this time, and Sheep Boy's mom had bought the Monster energy drinks we needed. Pathological Liar started to guzzle them because he wanted to test out the drinks first. Sheep Boy showed off his new home gym and then got us to play Smash Bros for half an hour. I didn't want to play at first, but then decided to lighten up and we could do the tests afterwards. After coaxing my group back to the gym, Pathological Liar just rambled and chit-chatted. Me, trying to be pragmatic, said, "Hey guys, why don't we start our exercise now and record some data, and then afterward I can school y'all in Smash Bros." Sheep Boy looked willing until Pathological Liar sighed out, "Oh my god, OP. Sigh. We didn't invite you out to do this stupid project. We invited you to hang out." Sheep Boy's attitude did a complete 180, chiming in, "Yeah, we don't want to do this stupid project now." I was seething. Pathological Liar spouted a load of bull. This wasn't even his house. I was the one who organized this get-together to collect freaking science fair data. I was the one herding these sheeple around. Oh my god. The second chance I gave them was taken and then stomped all over the ground, and they weren't getting a third one. I relented and said, "Okay then, let's just hang out then." When I got home that night, I was angry and I used that anger to fuel my revenge. I conscripted my parents to the science fair project, and they helped me collect the data I needed by volunteering to work out and drink energy drinks. The data collection problem was solved. Once I got enough data, I wrote down everything for the science fair project in the composition book. I even uploaded everything to the online science fair board. I created all the PowerPoint slides and scripts for the presentation. Over the next few weeks leading up to the presentation, Sheep Boy and Pathological Liar didn't even ask about the science fair project. They had no intention of doing any of the work. Although my anger fueled me to get the project done, I wasn't finished. I did the pettiest thing I could think of and signed a corner of the composition book with, "OP did all the work." I knew that Amazing Teacher would be checking our composition books while we were presenting the project, and I couldn't wait to see how Pathological Liar would try to weasel out of this one. On the day of the presentation, Pathological Liar and Sheep Boy were nervously fidgeting at their desks because they didn't have anything prepared. I strolled in and told them to relax since I made a PowerPoint. They relaxed, not knowing how stupid they were going to look while presenting. Oh, how dumb they looked when we started presenting to the whole class. I had already memorized the slides and my script and was effortlessly strolling around the room, making eye contact, and delivering a killer speech on the science fair project. Pathological Liar and Sheep Boy just read off the slides with deadpan expressions with their hands in their pants, not moving an inch. I was relishing this, all the while gleefully peeking to the back of the classroom where Amazing Teacher was reading through our composition book. Amazing Teacher would stop our presentation every once in a while to ask questions and compare with what was written down in the book. But once the bomb dropped, my blood ran cool with maniacal glee. I saw Amazing Teacher stop and read a corner of the book. She then read it out loud. "OP did all the work?" I felt Pathological Liar and Sheep Boy grow cold next to me. Pathological Liar, that cunning fox, stammered out, "Well, yeah, he worked on that section, miss." Amazing teacher brought her glasses down to the tip of her nose and stared at pathological liar over the rims and coolly stated, "So you're telling me that OP was just signing his part of the composition book and that you all wrote in here equally?" Pathological liar, "Yes, ma'am." Me shrugs. At this point, I wavered. I didn't want to feel the social wrath from them or their friends for stepping out and challenging pathological liar's lie, so I stayed silent. At least I embarrassed them for a moment. After my crowning achievement of embarrassing pathological liar and sheep boy, I thought nothing would really come from it, but boy was I wrong. After grades were released for the project, I was totally bummed out that I got a 96%. It wasn't the perfect day that I was hoping for, and knew my mother would be asking me, "Why didn't you get an A+? Why didn't you get a 100%? But then Sheep Boy and Pathological Liar ran up to me with their eyes wide with terror asking, "What did you get for your grade?" I say, "I got a grade." "Why?" This is how my snarky butt avoided answering questions on my grade. Pathological Liar says, "Sheep Boy got a 66% and I got a 48%. I was shocked to hear that. And then I figured out that Amazing Teacher must have interrogated my group mates on the project separately and awarded them the grades they deserved. Oh my god, my petty revenge tanked their grades. The science fair project was alone 25% of our total grades that year. I was so grateful that Amazing Teacher saw my frustration and punished them. So if you were working on a group project and your groupmates left you hung out to dry to do all the work yourself, would you be willing to stand up in front of all your classmates and admit that they didn't do a single bit of it and you did all of it, potentially facing the repercussions of their friends hating you or them hating you? Or would you take more of a backseat role and just hope that the teacher, like OP's teacher did, figures it out in the end? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by Alex69. Nice. "Oh, you don't want to move your cars? I'll tow it then." Senior in college in the US here. I live in a townhouse development, 4 bedrooms per unit, with limited parking, only 2 spots per unit, plus a bunch of overflow parking for residents that's a bit of a walk. We got a good snow recently, so people have been getting pretty lazy about parking in the resident spots since they don't want to hike through the snow, which is understandable. They're your spots, do what you want. The issue is my next door neighbors never drive their cars anywhere, still covered in snow several days out, and they have let their friends use my unit's spots for a while. Not to mention the obnoxious parties they've thrown during the pandemic with 20 to 30 people, but that's a different matter. This has never been a huge deal. We ask them on occasion to move their cars and they do, and it's been pretty chill. Since the snow people have been very haphazard and lax about moving their cars for when friends come over, which means my roommate and I, who each have a car, so 4 cars for 2 spots, have at most had 1 spot open for us to park in. It's been a pain, and the next door neighbors have been way worse about leaving space for people and don't move their cars when we ask anymore. Today, I was minding my own business and studying with the window cracked open, and one of their friends pulled into our parking spot, and one of said neighbors went out to say hi. Like I said, my window was open, and she proceeds to tell her friend that, "It's okay, they don't care and they won't tow you in the next 20 minutes anyways." I'll call that a challenge, and with the local towing place being only a mile up the road, I know they can be here within 5. So my petty self called up the tow company and watched their friend's beaten down Prius get pulled away off to a tow lot, waiting for a sad entitled soul to pay the $150 tow fee. If you keep taking advantage of people, and not only just taking advantage of people, but ramping up the severity every so often, people are eventually going to get completely tired of it and find a way to get back at you, like OP did. This next story is by 44. Be nice to the people weighing your salad. Many years ago, I worked at a bakery that also served a lot of other things besides pastries in the main storefront. One of these things was salads. So, being young and resentful, I quickly came up with systems for how I enacted petty vengeance on rude customers, or silently rewarded nice customers. One such system revolved around how I charged for salads. You see, we measured salad costs by weight, but the employee was the only person who could actually see the number on the scale. So if a customer was particularly rude, I would round their salad charge up to the nearest 50 cents. If a customer was truly exceptionally toxic, I would round up to the nearest dollar. I live in a wealthy/expensive area, so no one ever thought to challenge the numbers I gave. I would balance the moral scales and my guilt by rounding down via the same system for particularly nice customers. Neutral customers received the price given by the scale. Was I a terrible employee? 100%. I get wanting to get back at people that are just bad customers or outright toxic customers, but I feel like you just shouldn't be messing with the amount of money people are paying. And our final story of the day is by Aya No. Don't be a butt to your support staff. I worked as a receptionist for 2 years, and 90% of our business were walk-ins since we were usually too busy to have appointments. The office consisted of 2 office staff and 5 main professional staff. Don't want to specify. It was a stressful job, but was a good way to get my foot in the door. One particular professional looked down on the office staff and made our lives difficult every day. Examples include regularly telling us she wouldn't be seeing any customers due to headaches, would make passive-aggressive jokes and be upset when we didn't laugh because they weren't funny, trying to blame us when customers lied about what services they needed during check-in, calling the front desk to yell about how many customers are waiting. All the professionals had access to the electronic waitlist information. Disappearing for chunks of time between customers to avoid seeing more customers. Keeping customers checked in on the electronic list to avoid seeing more customers. Would be busy with projects when it was their turn to work late, so we'd have to turn away customers. They never got fired because we had a heck of a union, so she was constantly on probation and did the bare minimum. I left that job a year ago and found another job within the same organization. Someone in our department is preparing to retire soon, and we were discussing possible internal promotions. This is a position former coworker has coveted for a while, and it's really hard to get into due to limited spots. Someone brought up former coworker and asked if anyone had experience working with her. I kept it brief, but basically explained they'd be a horrible fit and I would never recommend her. Moral of the story, you never know who will make or break you in the future. One of the comments on this post brought up a saying that's really fitting for the situation. It goes, be nice to the people on your way up because you may see those people on your way down. You never know who might end up being above you in the food chain, who might end up being your manager or your boss. You just don't know. Just treat people well. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So if you have a favorite story of the day, let me know which story and why in the comments down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like. And if you haven't, subscribe and turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. No matter what you do, whether it's just viewing the video, liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, I appreciate the heck out of it. Every little thing that you do helps the channel grow that much more, and I can't thank you enough for it. So until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be right here next time on the Storytime channel.